First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here. This is a topic, well, this may appear like a topic, but really this is my life's work. When I was young, at age 14, I had this moment where I was contemplating suicide. And in that moment, as I held the knife in my hand, this voice that came to me, it wasn't my voice, it was some other voice. And the voice said to me, there's no difference between you and Martin Luther King and Bill Gates, they just think differently. And so at age 14, I embarked on this journey of understanding how to think and essentially embarked on a journey of who am I? And so 35 years later, here we are. And so I'm super excited to share with you, and I would love to take questions like from the crowd too, just have this be really a discussion between all of us. And I'm always a huge fan of seeing what arises from that. I really appreciated Deanna's quote of the Dalai Lama about how you learn the rules to break the rules. Huge fan of that. We can apply that to everything, not just life or business. We actually can apply that to spirituality as well. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah? Is it right? Thank you. Hello. How are you? You are listening well? Thank you. Can I stand up?
Of course.
Couple of things. First of all, we will talk about something that it's very, all of us. Life, I think it's a rich, very rich, but it's a fragile mystery. And we will be talking about ineffable things that cannot be said in words. So, in that sense, let's try to play together. I want to ask you for a couple of things. One thing that I want to ask you is that don't take my words, not yours, my words as something that is the truth. I have no idea. It's only my notes in life. It's my considerations. If they resonate in you, I'm sorry about my English, if they resonate inside you, then explore, experiment, walk the life with part of it. The rest, let go. ¿Está bien? Okay? It's only notes about life. I think, again, life is a very rich, but it's a fragile mystery. And I think, and I reckon, that all of us are creators. We all are creators. What it means to be a creator, it's not a rare ability. It's just to change the furniture in your home. It's to write a note to a friend. It's to smile to someone. It's to resolve a problem. So we all are creators. I want to talk about this creation process. And I think that the first thing in the creation process is a space. We need a space. Cut me out whenever. We need a space for the Ruach Haim, it's a Hebrew word, for the wind of life to go through it. But without a space, there's no wind of life. How you create that space? It's not external. It's not an explosion that it comes outside. It's an implosion that comes inside. It always comes from an implosion situation. Remember all these things, all these strokes of the brush, and apply them. You need a space for Ruach Haim, for the wind of life, to go through it. This is number one. And then others.
Yeah, I love what you shared about how everything we're going to share up here essentially is just our opinion, right? Because there may not be any universal truth, and there's sort of language that shows up in religion that says something along the lines of, God is, like, you can't fully understand God. right? And so really this is just a game for all of us. I call it hide and seek. We're literally just playing hide and seek with ourselves, right? And so there are these moments where we're seeking ourselves, and it's this fun game, but there are moments you can stop playing this hide and seek game and just be with the you now and recognize that the you now is absolutely in every which way divinely perfect, right? Like we have words like human and we have words like nature, but we're one and the same. And I always remind people that we wouldn't look at a tree or a flower and say, the tree's too tall, too short, too many leaves, too many branches, too few branches. But when we look at humans and look at ourselves, those thoughts come up. And so my recommendation is just pause in moments of life and just go, oh yeah, I'm no different than a tree and a flower, which means I'm divinely perfect exactly the way I am now. I'm just unfolding just like nature and trees do to the next version of divine perfection. And I find that that's really important to balance out really the message where all marketing, how many of you, what number of marketing messages do you think you've consumed in your lifetime? How many? 1 million, 1 billion, like marketing messages? Every marketing message has said, you're not there yet. Right? Because they can't sell you the product and service by saying you're divinely perfect and you have everything you need. So every marketing message has implied or directly told you you're not there yet. And so we do get to recognize the game within the entrepreneur business and know that, in fact, we are divinely perfect.
Yeah. Keep on going. Number 2, number 3. Impermanence. If I need to approximate to that mystery of life, I will take this one first. Impermanence. Everything is on an ongoing change, always. Imperfection. We look and we seek for perfection, and we are what we are. We are perfect in the imperfect way. You were talking about all the messages we have. And yesterday you talked too about only that. I think that there is a source, universe, God, nature. There is something that there is a source. It's not inside us, but we need to communicate and channel that. So we need to do a couple of things, I guess. And one is that it's the root of spirituality. It's being present in the here and now, as we always hear. This is the root of spirituality in all traditions, is to be here and now. What is important to me is that only you will identify what is your conditioning, my conditioning. Not you about me in me, and you in you. What's your name? Ravid? Bit. Sorry. Bit. I did it well. Try to describe what is your conditioning, but don't judge it. Don't penalize for it. Don't assess yourself. Just describe. I'm conditioned by my culture, my upbringings, my society, my couple, my partners, what are your conditioning? And write it down. Nothing else. If you can focus on that, it's a lot. Identify what is your conditioning. Identify me, what is my conditioning every time, but not penalizing, no assessing, no judging. Just describe. Simple, smooth.
Yeah, I love that. And again, we can tie in what I said earlier about you learn the rules to break the rules. There's such depth and application to that, because I believe we all go through this phase of life where we learn the rules of who we are, right? And that comes from I am an entrepreneur, I am a father, I am a brother, I am a healer, I am an innovator. You have a list of all these I ams. right? That's kind of like the rules or the box that you're putting yourself in, only to eventually break out of those boxes, right? And so the arc I find from working with so many people is that the I am this, I am this, I am this, and eventually they let go of their identity, right? Because when you let go of all of your identities, you become nothing. And the opposite of nothing is everything.
Silence.
Right? And so, in other words, we're not just the moments of thought, we are also the moments between thoughts, the emptiness. Right? And so we do get to recognize that we are absolutely not just our thoughts, our emotions, and our five senses, that we're actually equally all the moments in between all those senses and all those thoughts, right? The void. We could call it God, we can call it source, many labels for it.
Yeah, that's a space. That's a space.
That's the space.
In between thoughts.
Yeah. And if anyone has like a burning question you're deeply wanting to ask, or if you want us to do some type of interpretive dance, just let us know. Talking is kind of boring.
I want to share one more thing. We always talk about vision and share vision. It's very important. Purpose, goals. And I think that there is one notion that it's beautiful, that it's intention. Intentions come from your heart. There is a duty, a nice duty. It's not an obliged one, of intention, kavanah in Hebrew. And there are two other words that are nice too. Always remember what is your intention, and your intention, it comes from inside. It's not about the output. It's not about the results. It's about the practice. Your intentions become a behavior become a habit become the practice becomes your second nature, and your second nature is who you are. But again, remember to describe and identify what is your conditioning. So maybe we are conditioning ourselves on who we need to be.
Yeah, I love that. I share that context as well, and I use different words, and I always say the relationship to the choice is far more important than the actual choice itself. And so we're taught to make choices. We're not taught to choose how we're feeling and relating to that choice. And I'll give you an example. Two twins both eat broccoli, right? They're choosing to eat broccoli. And one twin, the relationship to eating broccoli is, I don't want to die from cancer. I read some article that says broccoli is great for anti-cancer, right? That's the relationship. The other twin eats broccoli, and the relationship to it is they love the texture, the taste of it, the smell of it, right? It's this relationship of love. Let's track their life, and they eat broccoli every day, right? One is in the relation of fear and anti-death, and one is eating broccoli with the relationship of love, enjoyment, and fulfillment. They're going to have very different health outcomes and life outcomes and mindset outcomes. They're both choosing broccoli, but the relationship is different. And so, again, we are taught in our, at least in America, I can say, that the school system's designed to put out kids who are good military personnel and good factory workers, right? The system isn't designed to put out fulfilled, happy, joyful kids. That's just the system. Teachers are amazing. And so we're just taught to be good producers, which is choose this, execute that, achieve that. We're not being curated and taught to relate, right? To choose our relationships. Because if you were able, and you all are, to choose your relationships, you have choice over your state, how you feel. And if you have absolute choice, not control, choice over your state, it's very hard to sell you things, right? Because selling you things is you need this to feel happy, you need this to feel fulfilled, you need this to feel sexy. But we absolutely have that choice without consuming anything and choosing anything.
That's part of the conditioning. To recognize conditions and accept it.
Yes.
And see if I want to change it or not. Exactly. Intention, kavanah. Neshama, soul. We don't talk about much on that, but we do here. With soul in your heart. I mean, your heart and your mind is the same, but soul. And the other, it's Tshuva is repentance in one significance, but there is another meaning for repentance. And it's to become to the world and see the relationships. It's like we talk about religions, and you know that the religion has a significance. The word on religare is to reconnect. So instead of a repentance is go to the word with this intention to reconnect. And reconnect to yourself and connect with others. So remember to come back to the world. Because if not, we have the ojo, be aware, of all the idealism we can create in religions, with all the idealism we can create in innovation and startups and vitality, and we are different, and there is an arrogance on that. It's a good confidence without arrogance. Sometimes we became arrogant on that. So be aware that all this process has also some risk and some pitfalls. But you can always look for space, for the time into thoughts, and select what you want.
Yeah. And I also remind people that 1,000 years from now, all of you in your lifetime have created the most impactful business ventures and all the things. 1,000 years from now, it kind of doesn't matter, right? And so there's this concept I call it sacred silly, which just means we live moment to moment in this sacred reverence and significance, recognizing 1,000 years from now, it is completely insignificant. And so by harmonizing significance and insignificance, we get to play. Because sometimes there's this burdensome, like we gotta save all the plastic from the ocean, we have to do all this stuff. Actually, no, we don't. Every one of your passions, if you died right now, some other person is going to do it. Because there's almost 8 billion of us on the planet. And so holding this knowledge of living significantly in a moment in the insignificant life of ours tends to lessen this feeling of burden. Because we are absolutely here to play as children. We've been conditioned to not be children anymore. And so I encourage all of you, if you can, and I'm hoping in 2 minutes I get to do an interpretive dance and have fun on the stage. So.
No, but I go with that childlike perspective. We all need that innocence eyes to look at ourselves without heavy backpacks, it's tough, and to look at the world with these eyes, with an intention from the heart. There's not much like that. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. I guess that is the question. Who are we? And we get so confused with the world that we lose the idea of who we want to be as well. And we appreciate, I don't know if we want to do this, and I don't know if we have time for a question from the audience. So is anybody brave enough to continue introspection? Go ahead. Is it working? I'm going to hand you over one of these. Okay. Thank you. All right. Too many now. Okay. This one works.
So, completely hypothetically speaking, let's say there's a married couple that has very different spiritual paths. What thoughts do you have to offer for that? Hypothetically speaking.
Let's start couples therapy right now.
I get this question a lot, and the thing that I found that works the best is a dance-off.
Yeah.
So we know who the winner is. Now, all kidding aside, I believe that one of the greatest things we can do, no matter what the relationship is, to recognize that I live in my reality and you live in yours, and just honoring that.
Wow, that's good.
And
Do we have?
And I will add something. I think we live in the same room, in the same space. Same space. We get into this space from different doors, sometimes from different windows, but we are in the same space. When you encounter yourself in the same space, it doesn't matter your past, your spiritual path. You will honor the other one because you are honoring yourself. Because we are one.
All right, do we have time for another question? Yes, one more question?
No.
Great,
Oh, no, 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 no. It works.
good.
Thank you. I've been wondering, how can we reconciliate, our business aspirations, our venture aspirations, which are, let's face it, money-making ventures. That's what we, most likely, all of us do. That's how we make our living. How can we reconciliate that in our practices, in the way we practice to make, how we make our business, with that growing urge that we can see in everybody? I think we all feel it, and we can see it growing, this growing urge to reconnect to spirituality, to consciousness. But these are two things that might seem, sometimes you can see them as excluding of each other. The more you connect to consciousness, you should be letting go. But the way you live is by wanting. How can you reconciliate that in your practices of business practices?
Yeah, so actually this is, all kidding aside, this is actually a common question. And so, remember yesterday, for those of you that heard my talk, we get to recontextualize. So what I'm hearing from you is how do we reconcile the fact that business is this thing, spirituality is this thing? All we do is just change the context. Everything is spiritual, right? And so that's why I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have this mindset, because business is this thing that I'm building that generates money. But really, business is nothing other than an expression of me into the world, and then energy that I express comes back as money. That's all business is. So within that context, everything is spiritual. So you want to pay attention to what is the state that you're in as you're working in the business. And I'll use different words. What is the feeling and emotion and the practice of observing yourself, of who am I, moment to moment, as you are expressing and contributing into the world, right? And then the other context is money is nothing more than a placeholder for energy, right? So we get to let go of like, money is the root of all evil, all that money nonsense. Money literally is just energy, and you're outputting energy, and energy is coming back in. And be open for all entrepreneurs that the energy coming back in, if you're only thinking that it's money, you're limiting what other energies may be coming your way. And so really be open to the fact that you're going to earn more than just money, right? Open up the context.
Great. Amazing. I don't know if we have. Do you need this? Are you? Okay.
I think so. There is a division between spirituality and earthly things. I don't care. I don't consider that. We need to integrate. An intention is never about money. It can be about abundance, but it's never about money. The intention from your heart is never your wallet, your account. Your kids, your grandkids, your friends will not remember that. We remember your intention and your being. That's all.
Thank you very much. One last question. I hear there was a gentleman right here that was inquiring.
I wanted to know, you can hear me? Yeah. If you had to say one thing that helped you the most in your dark times, whether it be a perspective you acquired, an advice somebody gave you, or a practice that you started making, if you had to say one thing, what would it be?
Lots of tequila. No, I don't actually drink. So I believe that every moment is directed by Source, Spirit, and God. And so we are here. I always like to give context before I answer questions. We're here to experience what I call full spectrum of life, not just joy, happiness, and fulfillment. We're also here to experience the fear, the sadness, the anger, and despair. What we don't want is to stay in either side consistently, right? Because if you're in joy and happiness and your best friend gets murdered and you're like jumping down, screaming, amazing, probably not helpful. Right? And so we're meant to experience full spectrum. So within that context, when you're in despair, when you're in that dark moment, you have this context of like, oh, it won't last. Like you're gonna get to the other side. So just switch the context and give yourself space to feel the feelings, right? Because in spirituality and personal development, there's a lot of this, you gotta get to the other, you gotta get to happiness. No, fully feel it and know that it will naturally and effortlessly go the other way. Fist?
Open your hand. Instead of close it, open. Whenever counts, counts. It goes. Don't close it. Non-attachment. Liliana.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate this. And I just want to propose, since you, recommended a dance, that before we leave to lunch, that we stand up and shake it off a little bit, since it's Kids Day, so you can want to guide the narrative here.
So can I nominate someone to go on stage and guide everyone? Can I do this?
Of course. Feel free.
So Sarah is an incredible musician and artist and performer. So I'm going to have her come up, because she's way more qualified than I am to do this.
Good. We're standing, we're moving. That's what we do, right? The inspiration inside, it's you. We are the niños of the universe. You want to jump? Hey! And now whatever. What are you feeling in your shoulder, your elbow, your body? Move it. Yes. Hey! That's how we do it. That's how you do it the whole time. Yes. Your interpretive dancer. Beautiful. Thank you for all of your dancing. Whenever you dance, we will dance tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's about time to go for our lunch. I hope you've got some energy. Go get some energy. And I just want to extend a heartfelt appreciation to our partners, driving force behind success at Volcano Summit. Please join us at expressing gratitude for their invaluable support. Remembering, transportation starts at 12 p.m. There will be a bus available for transportation back to San Juan Gascon at the parking station with multiple transfers through the afternoon until 7 p.m. Lunch break will be back at 2 p.m. Remember to download our app. And don't miss Felipe Aldana, who's emerging Guatemalan singer-songwriter. His honest songs seek to communicate his experience as a person and transmit a positive and happy message. Let lunch be a time of nourishment, not just for you, but body and mind. Join us after lunch for panels on LATAM's VC ecosystem, media growth, and innovative world of Web3. Also, catch .lunch's wisdom of influencer marketing and Ari's angles insight on building software products. I hope you had a great time. Now, let's get back.